Okay, well, I wasn't even really supposed to be filming this today. I was supposed to be doing a analysis video based on Aizen's return to the plot of Bleach, and, well, he hasn't actually returned to the plot of Bleach, but, you know, like, the setup for his return and everything like that. But there's, like, a massive thunderstorm going on outside, and the room where I film, like, my studio downstairs is, like, no installation, so, you know, like, Monkey D. Dragon must be, like, pissed the fuck off or something, because he just, you know, blowing constantly. You can't hear anything hardly. There's way too much background noise, and you're still probably going to hear some of it because this is right next to a friggin' window. But anyway, here we are today to discuss Chapter 18 of Zombie Powder, and I just want to bring something to attention here because you can't really see it. This is a shirt that I purchased, like, 6 months ago, like, way before I started doing the Zombie Powder stuff, but on the shirt, I just noticed it's a skull that's wearing a top hat. And I just thought, considering Mystic, you know, is the main villain of this arc, I just thought that was a very neat thing that I just happened to, you know, have this shirt in prepare. It's like I'm planning these reviews out like 6 months beforehand. Like, I know I will need this shirt in the future. It will be needed. Yeah, we start off this chapter with the B-side Naked Monkeys Shueisha, and this is featuring Pyromania Pounder. And of course, I was thankful that they finally gave us an actual name for this guy, because I'm like, okay, Pyromania Pounder, probably not his real name. I was kind of right, kind of wrong. His full name is Lecris Pounder Resher. So his middle name actually is Pounder. So you just gotta figure that, you know. He's like mother holding her baby. He's like, what are we gonna name it? Lecris. And, oh, well, Mrs. Resher, what the middle name's gonna be? I'm like, you know what? He looks like he's gonna beat the shit out of some people when he grows up. So I'm gonna name his middle name Pounder. Like he came from a family of boxers or something. I don't know. Anyway, we see it really. He's wearing like it looks like a denim, like a denim jacket sort of thing with like chains on and everything. But it has. At first, I thought it was like the Ford logo. No, it says fuck. So that's, I mean, that's interesting. I mean, I would say like 10 years ago that'd be unusual to wear that, but I actually. There's a guy that comes in Dollar Tree where I work, and, you know, sometimes he'll be wearing a shirt that just blatantly displays the F word on it. Like, there's a joke that goes along with it or something, but the F word is on full display. So I'm thinking, okay, I mean, this doesn't really shock me that much considering I've seen people in public, in my town, in my store, wear clothing like that. So whatever. He's the number 3 in the Balmung Circus. He's a common-sense guy who competes with the number 1 and 2 circus leaders, likes kids, and he takes good care of his subordinates. Because of Pages, I could not draw it, but he was going to see that a child was in the Gamma group and opposed fighting them, so referring to Elwood. This is the funny thing, because it's just like, from the way that Kubo says it, he's like, oh, he likes kids. He was actually gonna object fighting against Gamma's group because Elwood was in there. Elwood is, of course, only 13 years old. But still, that really didn't stop him from strangling the hell out of the kid. Just like, oh man, I gotta finish you off really quickly because, you know, I can't let my name be tarnished. I mean, maybe he was thinking like, oh well, if I gotta kill you, I might as well do it quickly. But he showed absolutely no remorse at all, you know, fighting against Elwood. Now, I guess you could say, well, since Kubo decided not to show this, obviously he just scrapped the whole concept. But why include this at all? Why include this like, oh, he likes kids? Clearly not, because he was about to burn Elwood into a burnt crispy bacon, but whatever. His hobby is to look at animal picture books. Okay, I have that thing with, I have something similar, but mine's with insects. He likes ping pong and green asparagus. Okay, and he's the best friends with Gringo, the guillotine performer called the Neck Chopper, and he hates Falzon. he hates the knife thrower from last chapter that fought against Smith. Like, okay, so getting finally into the chapter here, we continue with first off, the name of this chapter is something else that's another very long one. It's Track.18 Birdcage Evergreen Append self-demonizer Mix. Whatever. Alright, so we continue with Smith, who's, I guess, leaving the area where he fought against Falzon last chapter, and he sees Elwood, who's just really just kind of chilling outside in the desert. You know, he's just lying around, not really doing much of anything. And, you know, and Elwood's just like, wow, you look awful. I mean, your suit's all ripped up and everything from, you know, Falzon's knives cutting all over him. And Smith doesn't really seem concerned that, you know, he's probably bleeding pretty decently from getting stabbed, you know, right there in the arm, but he doesn't really seem concerned about it at all. Smith just says to Elwood, he's like, oh, well, you look pretty torn up too. I mean, you're all scuffed up and you're missing your shirt. And Elwood's just like, nah, my opponent wasn't that strong. I lost my top. Nothing big. I love the fact he fought against a guy with, like, tossing burning oil at him, but he managed to not even get a scald. That's incredible. But anyway, he asks, Smith just asks him, well, where's Gamma at? You know, you're just chilling out here, so what's going on? He's like, oh, well, he left a while ago. He's going to chase after the magic train. Smith's just looking at him, he's like, chase after a magic, what are you talking about, chase after the magic train? You can't, there's no way to do that. And Elwood's just like, well, Yeah, I thought about that at first, but he found a way. So then we get the title page, and we cut back over to Wolfina on her Harley, who's like chasing after the magic train. So she finally catches up to the very rear car, so she grabs onto the thing. And then we see freaking Mystic fly over. He's like a pair of bat wings on his back now, and he just lands on the train, and he's just like, "Ah, good day, young lady. Please do your best," you know, because you know what's gonna come after this. So he lands on the train, and he like retracts his wings, and he just says to the train as if the train was like a sentient being, which it kind of is, because he just summoned it like when he began, like in chapter 15, I think he was. He's like, "Magic train, come on out, and please, you know, go off in this direction." So maybe the train is sentient to a degree. He's just like, we have a guest. Please open up, magic train. So the roof of the train, or as I should say, the rear car of the train, kind of opens up, revealing like the entire interior, basically like opening up a battle arena of some such. So, you know, Mystic does his like really cool like flips and everything, and he lands like really dramatically, like he flips through the air, and he lands very dramatically in front of the end of the car. And so now they just have this arena, and he says, "Oh, you're a young lady. I'll show you what you're chasing after." So this platform rises up at the bottom of the train, revealing like, it looks like a dart, like, you know, like a knife board. You know how like in the circus they'd string somebody up on a knife board like this, and they would spin it, and you throw the knives, and it's like, "Oh, look, I managed to, you know, throw 10 knives, and I managed to miss every single time, you know, the guy on the board." So he's like, Emilio is strapped to that thing. And he's still unconscious, obviously. He's still in his coma. And he's like, he looks actually like he's actually merged with it. Like the board is like made of some kind of like gelatin substance, and he's like merged with it. So so Balmonk basically just comes out and says, he's like, I will give him back to you just on the one condition that you bow down and you apologize right now, and then I'll give your little brother back. So I mean, I guess Wolfina realizes right off the bat, like, that's bullshit. Like, there is no way in hell, after you went through all the trouble of kidnapping this guy, setting up your massive circus performance, bringing out a freaking steam engine train to carry him, like, hundreds of miles out in the desert, there is no goddamn way that just because I apologize to you, you're just gonna give him back and it's gonna be that easy. It's like, you didn't think it would be that easy, did you? And so Wolfina is just, you know, staring at him like, I'm not doing that. And Balmonk is just like, I can't do that. That's what your face is saying, right? And Wolfina just pulls out her freaking tripod, and she's like, damn straight, there's no way I'm doing that. So she just starts charging at the guy, and there's no way I'm going to apologize to you. And then Balmonk says, whoa, hold on. I mean, he goes to attack her because Wolfina's like charging at him. So what he does is he stabs his arm into the base of the train, and he stabs it where he is, and it shoots out like a couple feet forward where Wolfina is. So it like shoots out and kind of like knocks her over. And while he does that, he says, I didn't say I was the one you apologized to. I said you should apologize, but I didn't say who to. You should be apologizing to your little brother. And so, you know, he draws some blood from Wolfina's face. He managed to hit her, and he's just like, you know, you don't think I don't know any of this? Of course, I know the whole damn story. I know every single thing. So apparently it's implied that Balmonk's been watching Wolfina for like the past year she's been in Alcantara. Like every single time she goes to visit Emilio in the hospital, Balmonk was aware of this and was just listening in on the conversation. Other than that, or he could read minds. Considering the fact of what Balmonk can do, I would really consider it either way, but it doesn't really matter. So he just basically kind of just starts messing with her. He appears, you know, behind her, and he kind of like puts her in, like he locks her up. He uses like these weird bandages. Like his entire outfit is basically like alive, so he's using it to like ensnare her. You know, in a very sexually provocative way, of course. So he's like, young lady, whose fault do you think it is that your little brother is being encapsulated by the Ring of the Dead right now? It's not my fault. It certainly isn't, you know, mine. It's not Gamma's. It's not the doctor's. It's not anybody's fault but you. And then we get a flashback in this chapter, exactly the events leading up Emilio to get to the Ring of the Dead. And basically how this just went was when they were little kids, apparently Emilio broke one of Wolfina's dolls or something. And, you know, Wolfina's just like, Mom, Emilio broke my doll, you know, because they're little kids. And Emilio's just like, no, don't tell Mom, don't tell Mom. I'll do whatever you want, sis. I'll do whatever you want. Just don't tell Mom. And Wolfina is just like, oh, well, there's that ring that's buried at the top of the Rockwell's old tree. If you get that for me, then I won't tell Mom. And Emilio's just like, oh, but that's a pain in the... And he's like, oh, fine, I'll get it. You know how kids are. You know, it's just like, yeah, I won't tell for $5. And he's like, oh, I don't have $5. My grandma gave me this. It's like, yeah, well, I guess I'll go tell him. Like, oh, don't. I had a friend when we were little kids. We did something similar to that. It was something basically like that, where I told him a secret that I did something kind of bad, and he said, "Oh, I won't tell anybody, Matt." And then the first thing he does after I tell it to him is he goes downstairs and he tells my freaking dad. So yeah, that was that. I feel for that one right there. But anyways, so I guess that was the events that led Emilio to climb that huge tree, the rotted tree, and pull out the ring, and that's what led to the events of him getting ensnared by the Ring of the Dead and being eaten by it. So, Balmonk is aware of all this, and he's just driving it home to freaking Wolfina, just holding her down and like telling her the whole horrific story of how even if your brother does wake up, he's not gonna forgive you. You might as well put the gun to his freaking head and just pull the trigger. It's the same damn thing, because you're the reason he's like this. And while he's saying that, he like holds up his finger and like a gun begins to materialize in his hand, and just to screw with her, he could easily kill Wolfina. Like right now, Wolfina's like in a state of like she's bawling, she's in a state of shock in a sense. Balmonk's got her held down. All he would have to do is hold this damn gun to her temple and just pull the freaking trigger. But he doesn't. He deliberately misses her head just by inches, just to kind of mess with her more. It's like, even if your brother does wake up, he's not going to forgive you, so why not just let him sleep? Just let him sleep for an eternity, and that way he won't have the chance to reject you. And it's gotten to the point where Wolfina is kind of even accepting that. She's thinking to herself, that's right, Emilio won't forgive me even if he does wake up. And, Balmonk is a pretty sick mofo to do this kind of crap, because he doesn't need to. So, he's not afraid of Wolfina, certainly not. He could have killed Wolfina pretty much whenever he wanted to. He just didn't want to exert his full power on her, I guess, and just kind of play with her. And that's what he's been doing the entire chapter. It's just not to say that he could just kill her. He's going to play with her first and, like, torture her, kind of like hang her at the end of the fishing line with the alligators underneath her, and then he's going to kill her. And he's going to cut the line. So before they can get to that point, though, they both hear this voice in the distance, and the voice is like kind of distorted, like something in the guy's mouth that's saying it. He's just like, "What, you bastard!" So they recognize it both as Gamma's voice, and Balmonk looks up. He's like, "Wait, that's Gamma. How the hell can Gamma be out here? We're like 100 miles out in the damn desert. We're on a freaking train." Okay, and I swear I could not make this shit up. How Gamma got caught up to the magic train. I just thought he was going to do like the Karin Zanjutsu and just fly there, but maybe that uses up too much of his power. Maybe he can't fly for that long of a distance, because this magic train was pretty booking. What he does is he picks up an old unicycle, I guess somebody left at the circus, somebody he killed. He hopped on that thing, put his chainsaw sword in his teeth, and caught up to the magic train, which is probably going a good over 100 miles an hour. He caught up to this thing on a fucking unicycle with his sword, his giant sword in his teeth, and he's like, "Where you bastard, I'm gonna catch you!" And he gets caught up to the damn train, jumps off the unicycle and lands, like he's like in the air, like kind of deja vu when he ripped up the freaking tent. And even Balmonk is surprised by this. He's like, "Unicycle, what the fuck?" And he like jumps off. Gamma just move. Boom! Just kicks Balmonk square in the freaking nose, knocks him down. I love the entrances of this dude. Like freaking Gamma's entrances in this arc have just been insane. He appears, like out of nowhere when he like Wolfina turns on the light. He's like standing there in the darkness, and then he appears in the tent. He just rips the damn thing open, and now he rides a unicycle, jumps up in the air, and just kicks Balmonk square in the face. I love that. Now, side note. There's no way that would work, because there's no way that on a unicycle, which has like normal rubber tire, like a one rubber tire, there's no way you could move that fast, probably 100 miles an hour on this thing. I mean, the thing would just fall apart. The rubber would just get ripped to shreds after like 5 minutes of doing this. Even if Gamma has like the most insane leg strength ever, that unicycle would not be able to do that, especially when you're off-roading in the damn desert. But whatever, it's zombie powder, it's manga, so that's how he does it. So anyway, he grabs a hold of Wolfina and just kind of brings her back to reality. And he's just like, he's like, "What are you doing? You're about to give up. You can't listen to anything this dick says. Wouldn't it be, you're accepting the fact that it's better Emilio stays the way he is. Wouldn't it be better for someone to be alive and hate you, or somebody to be dead and love you? I mean, even if Emilio does indeed hate you, I don't think he would. I mean, I don't think the first thing Emilio would think as soon as he wakes up from a coma, and gets his senses together. I doubt the first thing he would say is, "Oh my god, I hate you, sister, for making me do that." I'm not sure what would be going through his head at that point, but I'm sure that's not going to be the first thing that pops into his brain. But you know, even if Gamma says, even if that's the case, you know, and if he's mad at you, he's still alive. He's still your brother. You wanted to save him, so that's what you have to be fighting for here. You know, being dead is like the absolute thing. You don't want that to happen, right? So that kind of brings, you know, that kind of brings Wolfina back to reality a little bit. Mystic, meanwhile, he manages to stand back up, and he kind of recovers himself. Like, he gets his hat back on. There's no damage to his face whatsoever, so I don't know how the hell this guy can just heal, like, spontaneous, like, instantaneous regeneration. But, you know, he stands up, and he's just like, you sure are a bit passionate today, Akutabe Gamma. And Gamma's just like, yeah, dealing with your stupid circus is really pissing me off tonight. I just love that. He's just like, because he's a bunch of mind fuckery he's had to deal with. So next chapter, we finally, hopefully, get the Gamma versus Mystic, you know, final battle of the arc. You know, I can't imagine this arc being too much longer. I mean, it's been the longest one so far, but, you know, it's still the very beginning of the series. And I don't know if Kubo just, like, realized, like, this is, like, the last main arc that we're going to have here. But it might be ending fairly shortly. You figure, you know, had a fight with Smith, had a fight with Elwood, now like the final fight with Mystic, and see where that's going to go. But yeah, so that's next chapter. I'm looking forward to that. Hope you guys enjoyed. This is Tekking101 signing out. Yeah, later. Freaking unicycle, man. Seriously?